How would Brexit affect Ukraine? If the United Kingdom votes to leave the European Union, what effect would that have on your country?
Well, thank you very much, David, for the question. I think the challenges will be seen not only from Ukraine, but first of all in the UK and in the European Union as such, trying to see how they can manage the new situation and how they can define the new Europe, so to say. So we in Ukraine are keeping our fingers crossed that Brexit referendum, while taking place, will not result into any deviating decision from continuing the path of going together inside European Union for Britain, and because otherwise I think that will even more challenge the whole unity of the European Union that we so much need right now from the Ukrainian standpoint.
Madam Deputy Prime Minister, it's light years away, right? Not just for Ukraine, but for all of the countries that want to join the European Union. The EU came out with its report recently, and no country is anywhere close to the goals that they would need to meet. When do you anticipate it becoming a reality?
Well, right now we are very much concentrating on fulfilling our homework, on implementing the association agreement, the DCFTA that came into force as of 1st of January of 2016, and it came still on the provisional basis. So therefore we are trying to approximate and the legal framework of the European Union to our legislation, put it into our legislation, work on implementation of a lot of different reforms in quite a few areas, and taking a really substantial effort of the government, of the parliament, of the civil society to that matter as well, to push through these reforms. So we are not asking ourselves the question when exactly that will happen. I think we are asking our question how this could bring our country to a better, more democratic, more prosperous life. And at the same time we are waiting also that the countries in the European Union would take a very responsible stance, and the Dutch government would also come into with the finalization of the ratification procedure of the association agreement and DCFTA with Ukraine. So it would come into force, and that would be the first step to continue and build on this.
A question about sanctions. You've seen lobbyists asking some European governments to ease some of those sanctions brought about because of what happened with Russia. Are you concerned that those could be rolled back before the Minsk agreements are ratified?
I'm really counting on the wisdom, responsibility, and the leadership of each of the heads of the states of all the European capitals that will be gathering together to take that decision with the rolling over of sanctions, because so far we have not seen Russia delivering on any of its obligations within the Minsk Accords, and there is no ground to actually even think of considering of weakening of any sanctions, because so far Russia has not been showing any progress in fulfilling its obligations.
Madam Deputy Prime Minister, how is the economy doing? How are you faring in a world where we're seeing very low growth and difficult currency, if not wars, at least currency battles between nations?
Well, it is a difficult situation for us. Obviously, I want to remind everybody that with the occupation of part of the territory by Russian Federation and annexation, illegal annexation of Crimea by Russian Federation, we actually lost 20% of our economy. And all the other processes, when we have to allocate 5% of our GDP to defense and security matters in order just to keep an army on the dividing line, on the touch line between the armed forces of Russian Federation and our armed forces, basically, in the east of our country, we are losing a lot in all that possibilities that we could have put in the development of our country and the country's economy. And therefore, one of the major important tasks for this government is to ensure macroeconomic stabilization. And we already see a positive signs on this, trying to achieve this task. We are anticipating that by the end of the year, we will have at least 1.5 or 2% growth. And this is something which is fully corresponding to the prognosis of EBRD, of the IMF, and so far this is being the case, and I think that will be making sure that we are finally behind the lowest economic problems or biggest economic problems that we have, and we will be seeing steady, slowly developing growth.
Just a last question here. The White House announcing while you're in town, while you're in Washington, D.C., that it's going to commit $220 million in additional aid to Ukraine. Give us a sense of how that money is going to be spent.
Well, that is exactly the money that will be helping us to create to start a big reform of the customs of the customs office, and we are very much hoping that that will ensure the additional transparency of the procedures on the that are being dealt with the customs, and we will be actually adding to that point where we are more efficient in our fight against corruption.